It's opening morning, gun season. It's just about starting to get late, so we're gonna sit tight and see what happens. See if we see any shooters. Buck only today. Buck only. Well, we just seen our first big buck. And he was pretty decent. He was a long way from us here. But he went across the top of the hill. But we could see his antlers plain as day. He had a big thick rack on him. But he's headed in behind the neighboring farm. The house is on the other side of the field here, and that's where he's gone. And he was on his own, surprisingly. He was a beauty. Hopefully we'll get to see another one a little bit closer. He was a nice one, though. Well, we've seen the second deer for the morning. There's a spike buck. Oh, it might be a white buck. Bedded down behind this in really thick junk. We've heard 2 shots so far, but that's it. Pretty slow. Very, very slow. But we're gonna sit and see if we see anything moving around. It's been super quiet though. There's a young buck bedded right behind us, but he's not legal. Or he just flicked his tail there. He's not legal though. I think you can just see him flicking his tail. He's only got 2 points. He's gotta grow up a little bit more. Well, we're just walking back up to the ATV. And the full moon is up above my head. And we didn't see not one other deer all afternoon. Just squirrels. We seen that one big buck this morning. And we seen that one little buck that bedded behind us. And then we seen 4 does during the middle of the day. And that was it. It's pretty cold now. They want pretty rough weather this week. I think they want rain. Let's see if we can get the moon in the shot. There it is. It won't focus on it. You can see it behind me, but it won't focus in on it. Are you ready to go home? Can you see the moon?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's really time to go home. All right. It's the second weekend of gun season. Doe opens today. But this is the hardest time of the year for me to get deer. There's a lot of hunting pressure around this area. And by now a lot of the deer have been pushed or spooked pretty hard. Last week was the opening day of gun season, but it was for this area it was for buck only. But now buck and doe is open today, so or antlerless deer. And the weather is bad. I was sitting up on top of the hill up here earlier on this morning, and it was so windy you couldn't stand up. So I came down further off the hill onto the edge of the woods here in my other stand. But as of yet, no deer, none. I only heard one shot, and it was what a good distance from here. It was way off. It was raining pretty much all day yesterday and all last night. It only stopped about maybe 6:30 this morning, so everything is soaked. It's not super cold, but that wind makes it cold. I wish we could get some snow. Especially for seeing behind me here, the snow makes it much easier. So I'm using my microphone here. It's windy. You get a lot of wind noise. Even sitting here off the edge of the hill. Now a lot of times this season I've been seeing deer crossing the soybean here, but this morning I haven't seen any. Well, we're gonna stick it out and see what happens. See what we see. See if anything goes on. There's still standing corn on this farm, and a lot of the neighboring farms have, pretty much all the crops are gone now. In front of me here, there's a big winter wheat field, and then to the side of me here, there's a huge big wheat field onto the neighboring property. And a lot of times I've seen deer crossing this field, but it's like always right at dusk or right at dawn. Now last week here, I seen a big buck that I've been seeing. I seen him the first week of archery season, hanging out in here, and I've seen him several times since. But he's pretty wise. He's only moving like right at low light, and he's zigzagging safety zones. He's staying in safety zones. He's not frequenting areas where he could be, get a shot at. Hopefully this wind calms down a little bit. Maybe we'll see something moving. Usually when the wind is really high, the deer get nervous and they won't move as much as they would. But like I said, it's a week into gun season now, and the deer have been pushed around quite a bit. Sometimes they'll only move now at night, or if they get pushed out of somewhere. But we'll see. We'll sit and see what happens. Well, I'm on my way back out. Quite the uneventful day. I didn't see not one deer. First day all season I've been skunked. Oh, something was digging there. I didn't see one deer. And damn near sat all day. In another hour it'll be dark. I'm just cruising the edge of the corn here. See if I see anything on the way out. I'm taking a big loop all the way around to come back in behind where the cabin is. But it has been brutal windy all day. Super strong winds, and it's making it really cold. It was raining this morning and it stopped, and it sprinkled on and off during the day, but no deer. Actually, during the middle of the day, I left my stand and I took a walk basically around the whole circumference of the farm, because the wind was blowing so strong. I figured they could be bedded in the corn, and there's still lots of corn standing. And this corn is really thick. It's not in rows like it used to be years ago. You can see it behind me here. It's so thick you can't walk through it. But the deer, they'll push through it, and then they'll find little alleyways where the corn is broken down. They have little pathways through it. But I didn't see nothing, not a thing. So I'll probably have one more day. So I might get out in the morning. I might get out some of the days next week in the morning, and I'll come down maybe. And then I'll have last day of gun season's next Saturday. After that, it's back to archery hunting and then muzzleloader hunting after Christmas. So I'm sure we'll be out for some of that. Looking down the field here, making sure I don't see any deer, but has not been a good day, not today. All right, time to head home. We'll see you on the next one. Well, you might not be able to tell from around me. Maybe you can. The fog is so thick now I can't see 50 yards. I can just about make out the corn at the top of the hill there. So this fog has set in pretty thick. I can hear them cutting the corn at the top of the hill. But this fog is cold. It's freezing. Everything is wet. Everything is damp. I seen 2 more deer come in behind me. I had one walk down the middle of the valley, actually walk right past my ground blind I have down there. And then I had 2 more come from the opposite direction, but they're staying in that thick junk. Those other 2 deer, I couldn't see where they went. I could see them just as they passed my blind. And I watched them. I thought they bedded down. They were in that same area. I seen that buck a couple of weeks ago where he bedded down. And there's a lot of deadfall trees and stuff. So I've seen quite a few deer this morning, but I cannot get a shot behind me. If they're too far in behind me, it's so thick. Even with a slug gun, that round would never reach them. You see, I put my mask on. It's really getting cold. I can't see the deer. I thought, well, I'll be able to see the deer if they come out of the corner. There's a little dip in the field here, and they usually follow that dip. But now, like I said, I can barely see my hand in front of my face. It's so foggy, and the temperature is going way down. But I haven't seen any deer come from the top of the hill. I think they were all out in the field this morning. They were already out in that wheat field. You never know though, there could be a couple more laying in that corn. That corn is so thick, you can't even walk through it. You have to push the stalks aside to try and get through it. It's really, really thick. You might be able to hear the machine up on the hill there. I will wait a little while longer and see. I haven't seen any bucks. No bugs. All those. I can hear that machine now. He's right on top of the hill. Alright, let's see what happens here. The most expensive lawnmower in the world. Okay. Took a little bit of a walk around. Didn't see any deer, but you can see the destruction the combine left. They actually only cut some of it, they didn't cut all of it. I don't know whether they had a problem with the machine or not. I just passed it down there. They had one of the side covers off of it. But I'm coming back down to my stand. Walking the edge of the corn. The new edge of the corn. So that some of it is still standing. Not too much of it though. They didn't cut the lower fields. Like I said, they might have had a problem with the machine. Or it might be too wet. This fog is causing, even on my shotgun, it's causing a lot of condensation on the scope. You can't see where the damn. I want to sit for a little while longer. See what? Oh, look at the crows! They're in the cornfield. I'm gonna sit for a little while longer and see if we see anything moving around. And if we get a shot, it's gonna be a close one. This is gonna be nice for seeing tracks. All right, let's get back up in this stand. Okay, back in the tree stand again. Looking for some sneaky deer that I think are pretty much nocturnal at this point. Oh, we did see a few this morning. I missed a shot at that one with my slug gun. But I'll take this lull in the middle of the day to show you something a little bit different that not everybody can hunt with. Here in the good old US of A, I can hunt with lots of different types of weapons. I'm hunting now in the general firearms season, so in archery season I can hunt with a crossbow, a recurve bow, a compound bow, a long bow, and then there's regulations regarding the size and type of broadhead I can use. The bow has to be a minimum poundage. There's also regulations for gun hunting. I can use a semi-automatic shotgun or bolt action or single shot, stuff like that, or pump, but or same goes for a rifle, but I can't use a fully auto rifle. I can use a semi-automatic rifle for hunting small game as long as it's 22. I can use a larger semi-automatic rifle for hunting fur bearers like fox and coyote. I can use an AR type rifle for that. They just changed that rule. That used to never be like that. For deer hunting, for big game hunting, I can only use manually operated rifles, but I can also use handguns. I can't hunt with an air rifle here. I can only hunt small game. I can't hunt big game with an air rifle. I can hunt small game with an air rifle. But today I have my handgun with me, so I thought you might like to see it. I'll show you. I have one of my handguns here. This is it's a Taurus Raging Bull, and it's chambered in 454 Casull, but it would also shoot 45 long Colt, which is what I have in it today. It's a 6.5 inch barrel. It's 5 shot. If I open it, you'll see. And it is loaded because I'm hunting. You can see it there. It holds 5 rounds. That's because of the cylinder pressure for a 454 is very high, so they use 5 rounds instead of 6. You can see I have a scope mounted on it. It's a regular crosshair loophole 4-power scope. The trick with hunting with a handgun is you need a super steady rest. It's tricky to line up this sight accurately, and you have to get a good solid rest. That's why I use the arm here. I'll use it to rest the handgun on it so it's nice and steady and still. I don't want to leave it out too long because it's raining now. But you can see here that the barrel is also ported on both sides, and that reduces the muzzle flip from it. I do have a handgun video out that I done a while ago. That's if you search my channel, you'll see it, and you'll see the type of recoil off of this handgun. It's a lot. Now I know. I don't think you can hunt with a handgun in Canada. I know some of the guys in Canada, they can't have handguns. Some of the places in Europe, I know the guys back in Ireland, they can't hunt with handguns, but boy, that's a whole different challenge. That's a whole different challenge. Actually, I'll show you one of the bullets off of here. You'll see. This is a 454 round. This is a 300 grain Hornady XTP hollow point. So it packs quite a wallop. This is a little bit large for deer. I mean, you could kill a moose with that. But it hits hard. You have to remember that handguns have the shorter barrel, so they don't have the same type of velocity as a rifle. So a rifle is still much more lethal at longer range. A handgun is lethal at short range, and this gun will shoot quite a distance. It is difficult to make a long shot with it. You have to be pretty skilled with it. I don't like shooting over 75 yards on an animal. Maybe even I'd prefer them closer than that. But yeah, it's pretty interesting hunting with a handgun. That started a long time ago, actually, guys. With Elmer Keith developed really the 44 Magnum, and that was the first really serious handgun hunting around. Of course, cowboys probably killed countless game animals with Colt 45 Peacemakers, if they had to. I'm sure they would much rather use a rifle, but there are guys that hunt nothing but with handgun, and they make purposely built handguns just for hunting. Especially for big game. These handguns have killed every species of game on the planet, including elephant, rhino, hippo, buffalo, all the big 5 animals. They've all been taken in Africa with one of these. They just need to use special bullets, hard cast bullets and solids, and they're loaded hot. Those rounds are loaded pretty hot. But yeah, handgun hunting it's interesting. That is interesting. I've never killed a big game animal with a handgun. I've shot squirrels and smaller game, groundhogs and stuff with handguns, but I've never killed a big game animal with one. Hopefully we will change that. We're working on it. Today is the last day I can use it, the last day of the gun season here. And then I'm back to archery and muzzleloader hunting. Flintlock, not inline muzzleloader, flintlock. That's what's coming next. Today would be a absolutely horrible day for a flintlock. It's pouring rain now, and I have freezing fog. It's just awful. Everything is wet. The scope on my slug gun is pretty much useless. It just keeps fogging up and getting moisture on the lens, and every time you wipe it, it just smears it. It's like 3 minutes later, it's back. I even have anti-fog and everything on it. Doesn't make any difference. Everything is condensated. You can see I have caps on the handgun. I have scope covers on it, so to keep it covered. I also have it in a bandolier holster to keep it covered up. You see, shells on it. So I thought you'd be interested to see that. I do have another, I have two other big bore handguns. I have a 44 Remington mag, 44 mag. It's a single action. This handgun is a double action. So I don't have to cock the hammer. It will actually shoot every time I pull the trigger. Or I can cock the hammer and shoot it, because of course it's a revolver. But my other gun is a single action revolver. It's a Super Blackhawk Ruger. Beautiful, beautiful handgun. Built like a tank. They're made to last forever. I'm sure my great grandkids will be able to have that. It's built really well. It'll last well more than my lifetime. I don't have a scope on it though, it's just an open sight. I'd really like to do a pig hunt with it, for a wild pig. Or get a deer with it, I wouldn't mind doing that either. Man, I really wish this weather would break. Alright, let's sit some more, see if we can get this handgun to bark. There he is. My mortal enemy. There he comes. See if he comes up the log. He's eyeballing me. He's going back down. He thought, damn, I'm too close to that guy. I'll be back after him once gun season is over. There he goes. There's still a bunch of them in here. Well, I just had a deer, a good sized doe, run out in front of me. The combine, they're back, the guys are back cutting the corn again, and he pushed that deer right out the end of that cornfield, and it crossed that field at probably 100 miles an hour. I don't know, it's about an 80-yard gap of an open wheat field. There's a real young wheat field. I think the deer's feet probably hit the ground maybe 3 times, or one side of it to the other. That's how quick it was moving. Yeah, it wasn't hanging around. It didn't come down behind me. It must have went. It's either lying in the ditch over there, or it crossed that big open field, and I couldn't see it even if it did, because it's so foggy I can't see. That was pretty funny. Boy, it came ripping out of there. There's no way you're making that shot with a handgun. Trust me. Now we'll sit and wait, and maybe a few more will come out. Well, there ended the gun season. I had that one deer pushed out by the combine, and I seen 6 more deer. They're right on the edge of the corn, but it was too dark and too low light, too foggy. Couldn't get them on film. But I seen 5 or 6 more. Landowners seen 5 or 6 too. When they were cutting the corn on the other side, they were pushing out of the fields and stuff, but nothing I could get a decent shot at. So, late archery and muzzleloader it is, and the quest for a deer continues.